fastest show in sports.
There is nothing worse in life than a degenerate gambler. We know you. We see you. You're there. We're looking you right in the face right now because you are the kind of person who will bet on anything, anytime, anywhere. It's a sickness, damn it. We know it's part of your makeup.
If you imagine the complaints all the time now about social media and the endless scroll, for example, and the sports books apps basically mimic the endless scroll, where when we legalized this in 2018, we were probably imagining, hey, I'm going to bet on the Knicks over or whatever. I'm probably going to lose because it's the Knicks, but I'm going to bet on the Knicks over or whatever. I'm from.
They lost a lot of money.
So that's normal. Okay, like I'm going to bet on a team to win the game. Okay, that's normal. But these days, you can bet on like Malaysian women's doubles badminton.
Correct.
Because there's obviously a huge black market for Malaysian women's doubles badminton, and we need to get those gamblers who are gambling illegally onto our apps. So this endless stream of betting options. You can bet on like the speed of the next pitch. You're a tennis guy. You can bet on like whether the next tennis serve will be an ace. The goal is to mimic the slot machine phenomenon or the roulette wheel phenomenon where just constant action. You finish your roll. Okay, let's just do another one. And there's just constant sources of action rather than having to wait 3 hours for your bet to materialize.
Yeah, that was something that really resonated with me from the book. It's that the gambler isn't necessarily addicted to they won or they lost. They're addicted to the action. They're addicted to the feeling of will they win or lose. And that never ends. And it also makes a really shitty basketball game exciting all of a sudden.
Right. And if every 5 minutes you can bet on, or not even every 5 minutes, every 5 seconds you can bet on something new, and you can get that feeling, that dopamine hit that you get when the roulette wheel is spinning.
That dopamine hit, that need, that degeneracy in gambling. Now we're betting on the Little League World Series? Holy crap! I mean, and this is not even anything new, Mike. The story comes out this week in the National Network News. The AP does a story on it. This has been going on for 4 years. I mean, you can't bet.
People have been betting on the... I could have bet on the Little League World Series.
You could have bet on the Little League World Series. You can't do it in the United States. A platform here, you can't do it. But there's a couple of offshore gambling sites that say, yeah, we'll take all the action you can get on the Little League World Series. We'll take everything. The coaches are out there wondering what it's going to do to the sport. They're more worried about the kids being exposed to this. But what is this? Somebody's got to tell me, and I understand the whole medical thing about the dopamine hit that people are taking. But in the same breath, what the hell's wrong with you? I mean, you're betting on 12-year-olds.
No. This is not. No, you're wrong. You're wrong. See, this is where you and I don't ever have to work again after this. What we do is we go through that offshore account. We get a middle guy. He gets to Williamsport. He convinces 12-year-olds on Nevada's Little League team, which is really good, to throw a game, to throw 8 men out, but it'd be 8 little kids out, 8 little leaguers out. We could have our own little it could be the White Sox sandal, but now in 2025, and we could get those. We could get 12-year-olds. We could get 12-year-olds to make us rich beyond our wildest dreams if they throw one game. And you know what? And you know what they get?
Man.
You know what they get? They get a lifetime supply of frickin' Bubblicious. You know how many 12-year-olds would take that? That's all it cost us.
You're a sick and twisted individual. I mean, without question.
Yeah, but I'm going to be a rich one.
But it comes down again to this. I mean, people want to bet on anything. And again, that women's Malaysian doubles badminton tournament, I want to get in on that action right away because that seems to me like that might be something that everybody is missing. But the guy's right. Everybody is out there, and you want to bet on everything. They want to bet on pitches. They want to bet on individual shots. They want to bet on individual seconds in a game. What the hell is wrong with this country? Is sports no longer watchable just because it's sports? I mean, the point made there was because a game, you turn a shitty game into something really interesting because you got money on it right now. Is that what it takes to make sports anymore enjoyable?
I think you asked a lot of good questions about it, but I think that the big one that I think is interesting is what does this really do to the games? What does this really do to the games? We already know what it does to us. The dopamine, and I've been in a casino bloodshot thinking I'm going to hit the big one before. You know, I know I've got a part of my personality that needs to stop with food, has never got into drinking and drugs because I've seen what it's done to relatives, including a really close family member. But but I know that I have other predispositions to addiction, and anybody that's ever had to hit the cherries on the slot machine keeps going. It's that dopamine you get when certain runners, certain runners get it from endorphins. Some people get it from slot machines and what. So we know why people gamble, and we know what it does to your brain chemistry and how it's so addictive. What we don't know is overall what this really does to, and we're seeing it now. We're seeing it with an NBA player that's going to be banned for life because he basically conspired with some guys on a prop bet to take himself out of a game, and it was Michael Porter's brother in Toronto, unfortunately, and that guy's never going to play in the NBA again. We've seen some of the ugliness that's happening. I think the bigger thing, and you hinted at it there, was if you're, and I remember Ted Leonsis, the owner of the Wizards, the Washington Wizards and the Washington Capitals, said to me once, he was the first person to have a sports book inside his arena, and it's at the bottom floor, and it's who runs it, Bally's or somebody overseas. But it's literally, it's sad because it's not even it's like a bunch of degenerates at 1 a.m. and they close at 10, but it's done nothing to enhance the area. The Green Turtle, which was a decent sports bar before there, was much better. But what it really does is he spoke to me, he said, what if you could be in your seat and you could bet on a quarter or a play right from your seat, and you could hit a button in your seat. And I thought to myself, Ted, that's really convenient, but it's also beyond warped, because if you start getting to the point where the betting becomes more important than your allegiance to a team, well, like you're going to lose core fans that just care about betting now.
We're
They don't
already
care
there.
about the team. It's like everything becomes fantasy football. Everything in your life becomes fantasy football. It's not about what the team you grew up with loving, and it's about winning the next prop bet. It's about seeing if Mikal Bridges can hit 3 threes in the third quarter and I could cash out. And who cares if the Knicks lose or win?
But we're getting away from it here, because the issue here, I mean, look, if people want to bet, they're above age, they can do whatever they want, they're legally, they can do it, fine. You go right ahead and do it. You want to go ahead and try to make some money, you want to go ahead and ruin your life, please. Go right ahead and do it. I don't care. And nobody should care either. That's you. But we're talking about little leaguers. We're talking about betting on 10, 11, 12-year-olds here. And it's now becoming now with this, more people are going to do it. You know as well as I do that now that we're talking about it, and the networks are talking about it, and the story is out there, and the Associated Press is running a story on it that's getting picked up everywhere. Yeah. People are going to go, I didn't know I could do that. Then you're going to have them looking at 10 and 12-year-olds, what they've been doing their entire careers, where do they play their games. Who knows? You might actually have a really good Little League player where somebody's going to show up at his field one day and scout the kid. He's 11 years old, but he's out there, and I got to watch him because I know that he takes every pitch on a 3-1 count. He takes every time.
Yeah,
so somebody can groove him a fastball. It's got to stop somewhere.
I mean, I don't. The idea that somehow the betting world is exploiting 12-year-olds, it's laughable to me, because let's be honest. ESPN, ABC televises that event every year. 12-year-olds are emotionally manipulated every year. You get to watch their adolescence play out in tears and everything on TV. I don't see the kids getting money for it. They've all, it's ridiculous. It all goes to William. It's a deal with Little League between the network. And I don't see it, maybe it pays for some uniforms somewhere down the road. Anybody that makes the World Series should get an agent, to be honest. You're on television. You're making ABC millions of dollars based on, you being, remember the Monique Davis? She was great. She was great. She should have had an agent going into that.
There comes
They're
an
exploiting. It's they take the fun. It's on when a camera's in your face all the time. It's forced child labor.
You're throwing this into another entire issue here. ABC and ESPN. Look, this always used to be Wide World of Sports used to have the Little League World Series, and it was part of the show at that point. And it wasn't a big deal. They didn't make it. You couldn't watch every game. There weren't, of course, streaming that came at that point. It was just you watch one game, the championship, and there it is. But now it has become big business. ABC, Disney, ESPN, they're all making fortunes off it. So, yeah, why shouldn't the kids get a piece of it? Well, wait a minute here. Stop yourself and hear what I'm saying. We want 11-year-olds to get paid for playing baseball. But if they're making money for them, where is the money going? See, that's something I'm not aware of. I don't know where a lot of this money goes to. I'm considering that it goes back into Little League.
Are you considering what?
No, that the money that is made from the sponsorships or the money that ESPN pays Little League, that it gets plowed back into Little League and it gets plowed back somehow into the local teams. But if it doesn't, then everybody's just making a buck off 11 and 12-year-olds. I got the degenerate gambler right over here going, well, shit, ESPN's making money. Why can't I? It's legal.
Exactly. And by the way, had you taken Aruba over Japan in an international game the other day? I just happened to see the headline. Aruba beat Japan. I have no idea I would have loved to see the odds in whatever offshore booking account or English betting parlor that line was posted. Aruba beating Japan might have been the biggest upset in non-championship play at the Little League World Series ever, Ed. We could have cashed.
That's all, folks.